Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really profound difference, the gap between what the world sees as success and the invisible forces that actually create it. We get so swept up in the visible markers of achievement, the stuff we can instantly see and measure, right? But true success, the kind that actually lasts and brings you genuine freedom, operates entirely beneath the surface. It's like an invisible engine. And today, we're going to pop the hood and take a look. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll be moving through 4 distinct stages. First, the illusion of success. Second, invisible wealth and preparation. Third, the power of deep focus. And finally, the discipline of showing up. Let's get right into it. Starting off with Section 1, the illusion of success. It's time to break down some modern traps. Think about this striking contrast. On one hand, you have a $100,000 car that starts depreciating the second you drive it off the lot. On the other, a deeply rooted tree quietly growing stronger. Our society loves to measure success by appearances, doesn't it? The luxury car, the designer clothes, that flashy lifestyle. We think that is what it means to be rich because it's all about visible income. But being wealthy, that's a completely different game. Wealth is actually the money you choose not to spend. It's the car you didn't buy, the upgrade you passed on. Because honestly, the uncomfortable truth is that the moment someone drops 50 grand on a car just to look successful, the only real hard data point we have is that they are now $50,000 less wealthy. Basically, being rich is loud, but being wealthy is incredibly quiet. Morgan Housel really hit the nail on the head here when he said, wealth is what you don't see. It's the money sitting quietly in the background, giving you the options and the independence that loud, flashy spending literally never could. Just imagine 2 different people. One spends every single dime of a massive salary to look absolutely perfect, but they would utterly panic if they missed even one paycheck. The other lives modestly but saves and invests consistently. If both of them lose their jobs, the first person's world shakes immediately. But the second person, they have time. Time to think, time to recover, time to choose their next move. And that is the true purpose of money. It's not to buy things, it's to buy options. And this brings us to business. Hitting inbox 0 all day might feel super productive, but a lot of times you're really just running on a hamster wheel to avoid the heavy lifting. We constantly mistake motion for progress. You spend your whole day jumping from message to message, firing off emails, feeling incredibly occupied. And then you get to the end of the day totally exhausted, proudly declaring just how busy you were. But when you look at your real needle-moving goals, you haven't moved an inch. Plus, your brain actually pays a hidden tax called attention residue every single time you switch tasks. So remember, busyness isn't a badge of honor. It is often the ultimate trap. All right, moving on to Section 2, invisible wealth and preparation. Let's talk about building that hidden foundation. Think about it. Are you thinking 5 moves ahead, like a master architect drafting a blueprint before placing a single brick? Because doing that turns uncertainty into absolute confidence. Most people play the game of life like it's checkers. They're just reacting to the piece right in front of them, constantly putting out today's fires. But the people who achieve lasting success, they're playing chess. They anticipate. If a plan succeeds, they know their next move. If it fails, they already have a backup ready to go. Preparation is exactly what makes certain people look incredibly calm under immense pressure. It's not that they're lucky. They just built their blueprint long before the construction ever began. Now, in hard conversations, instead of immediately defending yourself, try using an accusation audit. This means you acknowledge the other person's fears first, which immediately disarms the tension. This is an absolute game changer for preparing for interpersonal conflicts. Usually, we walk into a tough talk ready to defend our egos, completely ignoring the stories the other person has already told themselves about us in their head. But if you address their negative assumptions right out of the gate, saying things like, you probably think I totally ignored your concerns, you steal the emotional power right out of those thoughts. Suddenly, they stop preparing to fight you and they actually start listening. So imagine you're driving using an old map and you hit a massive landslide. You wouldn't sit there and argue with reality just to protect your ego, right? No, you change your mind and find a new route. And this is exactly what it means to adopt the mindset of a scientist. You're searching for truth, not validation. So many of us let our opinions become our entire identity. When our ideas get challenged, we don't feel like we're having a conversation. We feel personally attacked. But real intelligence isn't about knowing everything. It's about your willingness to update your beliefs when the evidence demands it. True growth begins the very moment you stop defending your old map and start navigating the actual road right in front of you. Just as a blacksmith relies on intense heat and a heavy hammer to forge a sword, your mind requires the friction of uncomfortable decisions to grow stronger. Look, every single day, your brain is going to beg you to choose comfort. It wants you to stay in that warm bed, dodge that difficult conversation, or take the elevator. But a mind that constantly avoids challenge becomes incredibly fragile over time. True strength has to be forged. The fire and the hammer don't destroy the steel, they transform it. So those challenges you are trying so hard to escape right now, they are exactly the elements required to forge the person you are actually capable of becoming.
Okay, let's jump into section 3, the power of deep focus. This is where we master the mind. When Lord Rama entrusted Hanumanji with the sacred mission of finding Sita Mata, his monumental focus made every single obstacle, oceans, mountains, literal demons, shrink in comparison to his absolute determination. It's such a beautiful metaphor for the battle that happens inside her own minds every day. Hanumanji didn't stop every few minutes to look around or second-guess himself. He fixed his mind on a singular purpose. And because his focus was infinitely greater than any obstacle in his path, he became completely unstoppable. It's a lot like an archer whose arrow changes direction every few seconds. A distracted mind can never hit its target, whereas a focused mind just easily pierces through barriers. A distracted mind only sees the problems, right? It sees the ocean, it sees the demons, it sees a million reasons to just quit. But a focused mind finds the solutions. Every single unnecessary interruption in your day literally steals a tiny fragment of your potential. In a modern economy that's just overflowing with constant noise and notifications, the ability to concentrate deeply is quickly becoming the ultimate superpower. So, here is your challenge. I want you to lock your phone away and spend exactly 90 minutes in deep, uninterrupted work on your most vital task, channeling that exact same mythological focus. Seriously, put the phone in another room, turn off every notification, no excuses, just pure, unadulterated concentration. You have to be willing to do what most people are absolutely terrified of doing, being bored. Sitting with a really difficult task after that initial excitement fades away is hard. But if you can protect just 90 minutes of your attention, I promise you will accomplish more than an entire day spent in a scattered, reactive state.
And finally, Section 4, the discipline of showing up. This brings us to a crucial milestone, especially when you hit what we can think of as day 10 of your journey. This is where the initial hype fades and the invisible multiplier takes over.
The truth is, motivation is completely unreliable. It will eventually abandon you, usually right around that day 10 mark we just mentioned, which is why true success demands that you stop chasing fleeting feelings and start building daily systems. We constantly tell ourselves things like, oh, I'll start tomorrow, or I'll do it when I feel more inspired. But the people who achieve extraordinary things, they do not wait for the perfect mood. They simply show up. Discipline means doing the work even when your motivation decides to stay in bed. Systems don't care how tired you feel on a random Tuesday morning. They only care about your unbreakable commitment. Check out how this compounds over time with the story of the stonecutter. Strike 1, absolutely nothing happens. Strike 50, the rock remains completely unchanged. But on strike 100, the stone suddenly splits right in half. It wasn't that final strike that shattered the rock. It was the compounding force of every single invisible, uncelebrated strike that came before it. This is the beautiful, quiet magic of showing up. You might take action for 30 days straight and see absolutely zero visible results. The rock doesn't even budge. But you aren't failing. You are storing potential. Every workout, every page read, every hour of practice is a strike on the stone. Success is rarely built in one extraordinary day. It's built in thousands of ordinary, disciplined ones. James Clear captured this perfectly. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. This profound truth perfectly wraps up our core lesson today. Your future isn't shaped by what you do on one extraordinary day, but by the discipline of what you choose to do every single day. Having a grand goal is great, but a goal doesn't pull you out of bed when it's cold outside. Your system is your identity. Every time you keep a small promise to yourself, you are proving to your own brain that you are someone who can be trusted. And that internal self-trust, that is the bedrock of real, lasting wealth and success. So I leave you with this question. What is the one crucial habit you will refuse to skip today, not because you feel motivated, but because it is exactly who you are becoming? Take a really hard look at your daily systems. Decide right now what that one unbreakable commitment is going to be. Stop worrying about looking successful to everyone else, and start doing the quiet, focused, disciplined work that actually makes you unstoppable. The future belongs to those who prepare smartly, focus deeply, and show up relentlessly.
Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll leave you to think on that final question.